Welcome back to Chocolate Espresso Podcast. Guess what? I'm your host, Thomas Newer. Whatever floats your fancy, I ain't too picky. Y'all know what time it is. I know y'all know what time it is. Some of y'all don't know what time it is, but I'm gonna tell you what time it is, right? It's interview time, man. See, I can't speak. I told you I was gonna trip up, right? Whatever. I'm gonna just roll with it. Look, artist interviews, I love them. I love them. And you know why I love them? Because I can ask the same question multiple times and everybody has a little bit of a different answer. It's a beautiful thing, right? So I like to say, I can't introduce them any better than they can introduce themselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass the microphone and let them do just that.
Hey y'all, I go by G.O.I and it's pronounced Joy. I'm an artist. I make music for the soul. And I'm super excited to be here. And I've been writing for a long time, about 9 to 10 years. And I'm finally ready to sort of release music into the world and sort of get that feedback and see if y'all vibing with me or not. Hopefully y'all vibing with me.
Man, let's hop into this real quick. I got a couple questions. Mm-hmm. All right. And I'm full of questions. All right. But I am curious. How did this start for you? Like, what's the origin story?
Yeah, it's a weird story, but I started rapping first, actually. I tried it out for like a couple years. That's really how I started learning about wordplay, learning about cadence, started learning about all the different intricacies, that music and writing music is all about, right? And once I sort of understood the rhyming bit of it, I sort of transitioned into poetry, actually. And then I started writing poetry for a long time, spoken word mostly. And then I began performing as well. But then eventually it sort of transcended into more of a inspiration that I got from Sam Smith and Adele and like people like Cat Burns. And so it just shifted into this more like soulful, like R&B type of vibe. But I always put an emphasis on the way I write. I always, make sure that it's quality and it's something that speaks to the soul. And that's why I say I make music for the soul, right? But yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was like this weird, rap and then spoken word poetry. I left music for a little bit and then kept writing. But here we are at like, what kind of genre am I in? I still don't fully know yet, but I'm super excited to finally be releasing music into the world.
What are some of your like regrets in music so far?
That's a good question. It's not necessarily a regret, but it's something that I definitely think I have seen in the past. Like I've definitely had a negative connotation on it, and that is not recording as early as I was writing. So like I said, I've been writing for about 9 to 10 years, but I only just now got in the studio. And I think something like that to me has always had a negative connotation, because I think a lot of artists can struggle sometimes with like, if you're not producing and you're not publishing music, you don't necessarily, but you're writing though, but like are you really an artist? Like, can you actually call yourself an artist if you're not really hopping on that stage and you're not doing your thing? But now that I am and I have produced, but it's kind of like, well, I've always been an artist. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I forget which painter it was that, I think it might have been Picasso, but they had said basically like he'd been making art for so long, and he's now considered one of the greatest like painters of all time, right? But his paintings actually didn't become famous until after he passed. Correct me if I have to go back and make sure I know the exact artist, but exact painter. But then they asked the question of, when was he great, right? Was it when he was alone in his studio painting, or was it when people actually got to recognize it and validate his paintings as great? And I think that once that I saw that, it kind of affirmed me and reminded me that like, you can be great even whilst you're not producing. You can be a great artist even whilst you're not in the studio. And I think now I don't necessarily see it in a negative light. However, I kind of have for a little while. But yeah, long story short, that's me not recording as soon as possible, basically.
Do you remember when you were first writing? Like, how did you find some of your inspirations? And are they similar right now? Because like when you talk about not recording sooner, right? That means that you were writing, but like, what were you writing about? You know, how do you, like, when you look back at that, you know, is there a difference in that style to now?
I would say, yeah. So like I said, I was doing a lot of poetry, a lot of spoken word. And so naturally with spoken word, you don't have to write from your perspective. You don't have to write from an experience per se. You can literally be inspired by someone else's story. And so that's how I sort of transitioned into writing music as well. Like I would write from the perspective of another. And it's happened so many times where I've written songs, like 2 or 3 years or 5 even. And then 5 years later, I personally go through something and I read through the song or even sing it again. And I'm like, whoa, like being able to resonate with something that I wrote, through someone else's perspective at the time. But then I don't know how to explain it, but I think I just did. But yeah, no, that I kind of started writing through others' perspectives and trying to kind of gain my inspiration from other things. And so that's how I write now, actually.
Do you have like an inner emotion that comes out the most when you sing or when you're writing?
Just happiness. Like that's like my happy place. The way that I write, so I just go on YouTube or whatever it is and I play beats, and I just sort of let the beat inspire me or speak to me. And sometimes based on like the rhythm, the melodies, the whatever's on the beat, I sort of hear words on it. And that's usually I come up with the hook first because of that. And so I'll write the hook and then I'll like kind of try to fill out the rest of the song. But it's like my happy place because I don't know, I just get so happy. I just feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I feel so fulfilled. So contentment, I think, is the emotion that I'm looking for.
Out of curiosity, you ever like Frankenstein a song? Like you took certain lines from different songs and slapped it together and like, oh, this is a new song. Have you ever done that?
No. No, I have to start, like I start over. If I think that there's like some lyrics, so like I said, I start with the beat first typically. And so if I see, like, I feel like that those words align with that song or that beat, if that makes sense. So it's like if I hear another beat and it inspires me, like I have to start over, or I'll just pair like a full song with another beat. But I can't ever just mix and match lyrics like that. Like I can, but that's just not the way I write right now. So, but still open to it. I'm a novice. So hey, if that's like a cheat code or something, y'all let me know. let me do that a little bit.
I'm old enough. I'm not gonna guess your age or nothing, but I'm old enough to remember CDs and mixtapes and burning all that stuff together. Do you ever think like you would ever like make your own CD and try to sell it to people, or is it kind of like, nah, my content's online now. This is the 21st century. We don't do that no more.
You know what? Look, when it comes to, and this is something I'm quickly like learning, is that with being an independent artist, a lot of it is business. And what you just referenced is like a more traditional form of marketing, I feel like. And so I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would, you know, because it's just like another avenue of trying to get your music out there, because that's really what it is. Like you can have a banger song and it could be like, you know, one of the greatest hits of man. And if no one hears it, it just is what it is. Like your song is okay to you, to the people around you, but unless the world actually gets to hear it, you don't know how great that song is. So yeah, I'd be open to it. I'm open to it. Yeah. Why not?
If
would y'all take a CD if I?
Hey, my mom says, don't talk to strangers. Don't accept candy from strangers either. It's tough because I do meet quite a few artists, especially even outside of the podcast and stuff like that. It is super fascinating to see like some of the steps they take to try to promote themselves.
Yeah.
Even just like having a shirt and just trying to sell a shirt with their name or logo on it, or paying Spotify or Instagram to promote like one of their songs and stuff like that. It's hard. I've never not met a single artist that didn't say, no, this hard. You talked a little bit about some of the artists that helped inspire you. Are there artists today that you wished went to a different genre per se? Like I asked the previous artist, could you imagine if Lil Wayne was a hip hop artist, a Christian rapper, right? Like how different would the industry be or that genre be if you had somebody as powerful as Lil Wayne's lyrics in that genre? You know what I mean? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
What artist do you think you would like to see in a completely different genre?
I'd say Ira Star.
Never heard of her. What genre is she in?
Afrobeats.
Afrobeats?
And I wouldn't necessarily say that she should move out of the genre. I just think her voice has such a gospel like ring to it. Like she has a very powerful voice, and I think that if I heard her sing like a gospel song, it probably would sound beautiful. So if she dropped a gospel song right now, I'd be banging to it. But I always listen to her music. She's one of my inspirations, actually. So yeah, I'd say Ira Star. Even Thames.
Who's Thames?
Also an Afrobeats artist.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
So is Afrobeats your genre? That's your go-to genre. I wake up Afrobeats. I drive the car Afrobeats.
Look, if y'all know me, y'all know. Basically, yeah. Right now, yeah, like Afrobeats, whether it be Christian Afrobeats or just Afrobeats in general. I definitely listen to a lot of Afrobeats right now. Yeah, can't lie, I do.
So
it's beautiful.
So my personal question on this one. I've always thought like a lot of women tend to listen to more female artists than male artists, and like vice versa, men tend to listen to more male artists than female artists. Is it the same thing when it comes to like Afrobeats with you personally, or is it kind of like, nah, music's music, I just really vibe with so and so?
I think it's hard because, well, for me, because I'm a female artist myself, so it's like I think I get a lot of inspiration from female artists. So it's, yes, I listen to like Burna Boy, Ashake. You know what I mean? You get like I have to. But then when it comes to like, if I'm just vibing, more of like the slower R&B, because I'm more of like an R&B, like Afro beats type of vibe. So I think when it comes to listening to those, like I naturally gravitate more towards the women just because that's sort of where I get my inspiration from. But don't get me wrong. Like I will play you, Ashake and Charlie Poppy quick. Very, very quick.
Yeah?
Yeah. You
got a favorite male artist then?
Right now, it's Charlie Poppy. Shout out Charlie Poppy.
Who is that? I'm trying here.
Ain't no way. You said who is that?
Who is I'm
who isn't Charlie Poppy?
I'm Burma Boy, Roma.
Like you gotta.
That's it. Yeah, that's the only ones I know. I wash my hands.
No, yeah. He's a dope artist. I think he's like a newer artist. So I wouldn't be surprised you haven't like heard of him. But he's just sort of coming into his own right now. I think him and like Odomodu Black. So, I mean, if you haven't heard of it, you haven't. But hey, I'm putting you on right now. You got to go listen to at least one.
I'm going to check them out. I say that. I'm one of those people that where if I say, I'm going to check them out, I check them out. Yeah. It might give me a week, but I check them out. Do you feel like when it comes to the music industry, it's definitely shifted in some form of way? Like, whatever that shift might be to you, do you feel like there is a shift?
A shift. I don't know. I'd say I'm not really in the place. Ask me in like maybe a year from now. I'd say I'm not really in a place to hold a solid opinion on that. Just because I haven't been super well versed in the music industry and in the music business. I'm still very much a novice. Ask me like a year. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. One of my other, what's starting to become a favorite question to me. How do you feel about like your health and when it comes to music? Like, are you worried about anything, being stressed out, tired, or just like you as an individual changing, or whether it be like a mental thing? Like, I know there's a lot of animosity in the music industry. You know, you got your fake beef, you got your real beef with other people. You got, you know, if you're doing like a shared, I forgot what the actual terminology is, but when you have like a person come onto your track and they don't show up, or they say, oh, I'll have that recording for you, and they don't, you know, like what are some of the things you might be worried about when it comes to health in the music industry?
I'd say what I mentioned earlier, like the idea of not feeling as if you are qualified or you are an artist when you're not producing. I think that's about it for me personally, at least. Like, I think I'm naturally a businesswoman, naturally an entrepreneur. So when it comes to navigating conflict or conflict mitigation, things like that, breeze. I think it's you learn how to communicate, you learn how to work with people and things like that. And my academic career has also sort of shaped that as well. So I am grateful for that. I think it's more so mental, kind of having that mental fortitude to like push through whatever kind of setbacks you might be having, any sort of doubt that you might be having that you are supposed to be doing this, and just, you know, you might drop a song and it might not do as well as you want it to, right? So having that mental toughness and that grit to be like, it's okay, like, just because it didn't do well does not mean that I myself I'm not a great artist. You know what I mean? And it goes back to that thing I was saying too, like, when is an artist great? Is it when they're producing on their own, when they're in the studio, or when millions and thousands of people actually validate that greatness? So
you hit the nail on the coffin there. It's self-confidence and self-approval, you know? I met artists that talked a little bit about, well, first let me say, have you had a show yet?
Yes.
You have? One. Okay. How was it like for you to, I mean, I assume you spoke with friends and family and said, hey, come show out.
Right.
You know where it's at. I've told you multiple times, this is where it's going to be. This is the time. You know, how did it feel? I mean, did everybody show up? Did some people not show up? Did some people dip and dodge? Did some people say, hey, yeah, I'll be there, and then they never did? You know, what were some of your emotions when you went to the show and you spoke to certain people and, you know, either they did or they didn't show up, but what are some of those emotions for you?
Yeah, no, I think quite literally everyone that I asked to come, they came through. My team goes crazy. And when I say my team, I mean like my close friends, my family. Like, if I say like I have a dream, I have a goal that I want to accomplish, I have a great support system. So I am blessed to have that. I know that. But yeah, everyone showed up. But I think the emotion that I felt was just happiness and just being grateful that I do have that, because I recognize that, you know, not everyone does have that social support to kind of pursue their dreams and pursue their goals like that. So yeah, they did. However, on that same note, right, I think something that I've also come to terms with is recognizing that we do live in a capitalistic society, meaning that everyone is a consumer in some way, shape, or form. And if you're going into this as an artist, you're recognizing that that's a form of business. And so you're producing music, meaning you're producing a product or a service to someone else's consume. And so I think a lot of us, sometimes we forget that and try to force our art or our product or our service onto the people that we love and the people that are close to us, not recognizing that we might not be their forte. Like, we might not be producing for them. They might not be wanting to consume whatever it is that we're producing. And so, yes, I was glad and happy that they came, but at the same time, I recognize that, like, if even my sister or like a friend of mine, if she were to hear my music on her or her For You page and didn't like it, that's okay, because she's a consumer. You know what I mean? She gets to choose what she listens to and what she doesn't. So I kind of have that inner peace of knowing that, like, whether or not they rock with it, I rock with it, and the ones that do, the ones that don't. So I was going to be happy regardless, is what I'm trying to say.
That's the goal, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've met artists that had shows and they invited everybody and nobody showed up.
Right.
I've had people come in and they said, yeah, I invited friends and family, and half of them showed up. And I had a guy, he flat out said, you know, I was on tour, got to some small town, And he's like, I did openings for major artists where it's like stadiums are almost filled. And I go to this town and like 5 people were in the audience and I felt like I just don't want to be there.
Right.
But he told himself, you know what? That's 5 people who spent their hard-earned money. I'm going to give them the show they paid for it, you know?
It's all about perspective at the end of the day. It's like, why are you doing this? Why did you spend all this money? Why did you spend all this time? Why did you put all the, like, you're so intentional in creating this piece of music that, you know, when it comes time to like actually perform and present it to the world, you can't really hold back, whether it's you looking at yourself in the mirror or it's, you know, 5 people that are in the audience. And I think that's what I was sort of trying to get at, that like, yes, they all came through, but even if they didn't, I still would have been blessed to be able to continue to like actually let people listen to something that I've been working on. So exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, so you talked a little bit about like the studio. You got your degree. Let's talk a little bit about like your ideal work environment when it comes to like producing music, right? I've met people who are like, nah, man, I just need a keyboard, a microphone, a mouse, and another keyboard, which is like the musical keyboard, like a piano or whatever. I met people who are like, nah, man, I gotta be at a studio. Like I need the full experience to be immersed in, like focused on making this, you know? What about you? Like you work from home kind of person, or are you like, nah, I gotta go into the office?
Yeah, so I think it's different for me because when I write a song, it might just look like lyrics, but I think I spend a lot of time creating like the melodies, thinking of like the harmonies, things like that beforehand. So I like when I actually get there, I already know what I want the full-on production to kind of sound like. So right now I like going to the studio because that's sort of how I've been writing for the past few years. But I wouldn't mind, you know, like a smaller setup if I was to actually write the lyrics and record in the same setting sort of thing. I think it just differs. But right now it's just like I write, I'm really intentional about like the composition of how the whole song is going to sound. And then I just take it to the booth. However many hours we're in the studio for, we actually get like the whole thing recorded and it sounds like the vision that I had in my head. So let's talk a little bit about the team, right? Because you can't have, how can I put it? Like you can have success and you can do it by yourself. Everybody says, oh, I'm a one person, I'm a one band team, whatever, right? Okay, right? Why would you want that? Right.
You know, like if you can offload something to somebody else and trust that they're going to help your image, your brand, why not? You know? So can we talk a little bit about your team? Like who do you have in your corner? And do you have everybody you need? Do you feel like you need more? Do you feel like it's an ever-changing, like, is it like a job that's a rotating door? Everybody comes and goes. You know, how does that look like for you?
Yeah, I'd say my sisters. My sisters are my team right now. I think I'm blessed to have like the most creative sisters. Every single one of them, they just are just the dopest. And so naturally, like from the ideation stage of the song to like the ending of it where I have like that first draft, you know what I mean? Like I have them to be like, does this sound crazy? It sound like a hit, or I'm tripping? That's just me? Oh, okay. You know, like just to have that. Or if they're just like, girl, it's not given. You need to go back to the drawing board. Like I recognize how like, you know, beneficial that has been to me even writing. So I would say my sisters, 100%. My sisters are my team.
So it's, I mean, like some artists, you know, they make their music and it's personal to them, you know, a lot of it's inspired by like what's going on in their life, you know, things of that nature, or even they're inspired by other people's things that's going on in their lives. Right. Do you feel like your art helps you in your day to day? Definitely.
It's definitely my form of expression. It's why I transitioned, I think, into music, because it's really just a storytelling of it. It's like, and also another thing that I do sometimes is I write with like, and I do this more in poetry than songs, but I write with the intention that there's like hidden gems inside of it. That I don't know how to explain it, but only I will know that those gems are hidden within there. And so sometimes, I don't know, I just think it's a form of expression for me. Even though I am writing in a different perspective, I sort of still am able to kind of like throw little pieces in there of me. So,
hey, that's what's up. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, I want to expand a little bit on that. Mm-hmm. So do you feel like, let's say you produce music for 20 years,
right?
You know, in the 20 years, you either blow up or you don't.
Right.
You know, do you feel like age matters when it comes to that? Like, would you continue to do this at like, I don't know, 65?
Most definitely. I'm gonna continue to do this until I don't have any air in my lungs. Like, quite literally is what I'm trying to explain to y'all, that like it is something that I know I should have been doing a long time ago, and it's something that when I am doing, I know like it feels like it is what it is. It's like this is supposed to be. And so even if I'm not like actively like being an artist, you know, until I'm 65, like in terms of maybe songwriting for people, I'm open to it. Even now I'm open to songwriting for people. Or like maybe building like a studio or something, or even a record label or something like that, to like still make sure that music is like a very big part of me. Yeah, definitely.
Hey,
definitely.
So would that mean you would also sign with a label?
Ask me in like 5
years or 5 months?
5 years. 5 years. Ask me in 5 years. We'll see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is your one of my favorite questions? Mm-hmm. Do you have a conspiracy theory when it comes to music that you're like, no, I believe this to my soul? Like, I will not be unconvinced that this isn't something that I truly believe happens.
It's not really a conspiracy theory per se, but it's just like, I believe that music changes you. I think what you are sort of what you listen to. And I think we can go into like the sciences of like the frequencies or whatever, the hertz, whatever, that you're actually like consuming. But I think the lyrics, the words, I mean, and then also I'm a Christian, so I think, you know, the power of the tongue is very strong. And I think, you know, if every day you're singing about a specific topic, or you're gonna become it at one point, you know what I mean? So I think in the same light, if you were to change what you listen to, I think it could also change and impact you as a person. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's my conspiracy theory. I guess.
Do you have an artist in mind that you like used to listen to and then they changed into like something else, and you're like, I gotta wash my hands of you?
Not necessarily wash my hands per se, but like Fireboy DML, when he dropped, I don't know if you're familiar, but that's another Afrobeats artist. When he dropped, is it Laughter? It's like Goosebumps, Laughter, Tears. I'm not looking like I don't know like I'm not really a fan. I am, I promise. The album Laughter, Goosebumps, Tears. Those that know what I'm talking about. When he dropped that album, literally life-changing album. Like I till today will like have songs on there like I Do, Need You, like all these songs on repeat. And I just think like that album, which is more earlier on in his career versus where he's at now, and the songs that he releases, I don't necessarily resonate to them as I did that album. So it's not necessarily that like it's a bad, like I'll never listen to, you know what I mean? But I just went to this concert like a year or so ago. Definitely love Fireboy if you're watching. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I wouldn't just say no, I'm not listening to him. So yeah.
Would you say as an artist, you should be more involved with the business aspect of it? Or would you prefer just to make music and be like, you know what, I got a team for that. Point at where I need to go, I'll go, you know?
I think it's different for me. I love business. Like I said, my academic career, like I was business for real. So I think when it comes to being a very much novice, when it comes to being the weakling, when it comes to being very new at something, I'm not shy of it. Like I'm not shy. I'm actually very excited to do that so that I can learn. And so I think a part of being an independent artist, a very early independent artist, is that I'm being forced to learn a bunch of music business. And I love it right now. ask me in like 2 years, we'll see how much I love it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm right now, I'm like fully hands on it. I don't mind it. So yeah.
So when we talk a little bit about my favorite questions, let's talk a little bit about AI. Now we got somebody in the studio right now. You know, he ain't vibing with AI. He don't like it. He don't believe none with AI because he a hater. Now you got another person in the studio. You know, he loves AI. All right, listen, AI overlords. When y'all take over the planet, just know I'm vibing with y'all. I just,
hey, look, me too.
Leave me alone. I mean no harm to you. But let's talk a little bit about AI, right? So when we talk about AI in the music industry, there's waves being made across the board, right? We got AIs that can generate their own voice, and it could be like somebody else, right? Like there was that Drake song that came out and it was all AI. You know, everybody blew up. It was like, oh man, this AI better than Drake. You know, we got AIs that can produce entire songs by themselves with a few prompts, right? We got AIs that can export, I think, what's the actual word I'm looking for? But they can clean up the audio and produce that track for you. How does that like make you feel with, like, let's say you blow up one day and let's say if you have a label or something, they're like, oh, we'll just make 20 more songs off your voice. It'll be your voice, but it's all AI generated. Isn't that like, how does that make you feel? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'm actually very familiar with AI, but only in when it comes to software development or software engineering. But I think the sound of that is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of crazy. I do think though, AI in general can be beneficial depending on who utilizes it and how it's utilized. I think it works to sort of give us time back, especially like people that are doing things on their own and trying to figure things out. So I could see the pros, definitely. I think when it's put in the wrong hands and you're sort of trying to remove the artist from their music, that's when it can be a little shaky, because I think there's no AI in this world that can be me, even if you tried. Y'all hear me? You know, and I don't say that like as a joke. Like I say that because it's like I write with the whole of me, my entire being. So it's like, yeah, you can get some words and you can put it together, but I don't think that like same emotion can sort of be captivated in the way that it's gonna put something together versus me. And I'm a one and only type, you know, artist. So you only gonna meet me once.
You know, like I said, we got one hater in the studio. I think it's fascinating. You know, this AI wave it's not gonna stop. You know, and I think it's, in a sense of the word, it's only gonna get better. Right. And that's equal to, it's only gonna get more scary.
Exactly.
You know, and I think it's extremely fascinating because like, what if you're able to like go to Chat GPT like 7.0 and be like, yo, make me a beat or an Afro beat and make it like, because they got like type beats, you know, like make it like Afro or Burna or something. I don't know. Like you just kind of mix it together, it gives you a song, and you're just like, all right, I can make something with this, you know, like you just,
you know, I hear what you're saying, but I think it's also something that it's like, in all fields, you could you know, probe that same question of, could this potentially take, not jobs, but could this potentially kind of remove, because what AI really does is to sort of separate the person from the thing, or separate the person from the artwork, and I think like I said, depending on the hands that it's in and the intention behind it, what are you trying to use AI for? I don't think AI is necessarily a negative thing. However, I think with the wrong intentions, think like Frankenstein. He probably was, you know, he was making Frankenstein, he didn't think he was going to come alive and just, you know, but to him, he was like, oh, I'm creating this thing, this being that could potentially, you know, whatever. And then he lost control of it because whatever. So I don't know. I just think it's your intention behind it. Creativity cannot be turned into technology, because, you know, a lot of people don't know, actually, AI is really machine learning. all you're doing is training a model, and with a lot of data, it's able to then spit back whatever it is, you know. So if you're giving it biased data and you're giving it corrupt data, you're gonna get corrupt responses and feedback. So like I said, it's whoever's hands it's in. So I don't know, but you can't get me though. Can't get a joy. I'll tell you that much.
You think you would use it to like help you produce like a song? Like, oh, you know,
it takes the joy out of it.
The joy.
Yes. See what I did there? I got me. Yeah. Look. I don't even try to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's all natural. No, but I think it really takes the joy out of it. It takes the creativity out of it. It takes the fun out of it. And if you're just like, oh, well, look, I guess if you're looking at an artist that doesn't write their own music, then maybe I could see that. To where they're just like kind of outsourcing it. They're going to outsource regardless. So it's like if they're getting it from AI, then, you know, they probably wouldn't care. But someone like me that like writes my music, like I write it, I take my time with it. I try to, you know what I mean? Like I really have a vision for real when I write music. So I can't outsource it. You know what I mean? So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think, okay, let's talk about social media super quick. And then, yeah, so so are you on social media?
I am, yeah.
Do you feel like it's helping your brand? Is it harming your brand? Is it kind of like too new to kind of feel this out real quick, you know, like?
Yeah. I think it's helping right now. I don't know how much help it'll be. Like I still have to look at like insights and whatever. But I think because I'm super new, it's just me showcasing that like I am an artist and I am taking this seriously to the world or to like my close friends, and just people I have on like Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. But obviously, you know, I have to do more in terms of ads. But yeah, I think it's helping right now because it's helping me sort of build my brand, but then also build that like have logos and connection with a potential fan base. So yeah.
Do you think when it comes to this industry, do you feel like there's enough support in general, or do you feel like, you know, it is what it is? It's what you make out of it.
It goes back to what I said earlier. It's not about you. It's about the consumers. It's not about what you're producing. It's about whether or not they resonate with it or not. So you can't kind of go into it expecting support, knowing that it's a product or a service. You have to go into it expecting that you've poured your all into it, you've done your best, and now it's a matter of finding your target audience and accepting those that just don't like it. And it's not something to take personal. It's business because we are, and we do live in a consumerism and capitalistic society. That's all it is. It's just business.
Couple of last questions here. What's the most you would spend on a ticket to go see somebody?
A ticket.
I heard Beyonce's was costing almost like $1,000 or something like that. So that's, let's say Beyonce's money versus like, I don't know, like a few bucks, you know, like what's the most you would spend?
I feel like that's subjective to a person's socioeconomic status. So I could answer something now and not be in the same place a few years and then answer another thing. So it's like, I think it's just if you feel like that's your artist, you're going to make it happen if you are in the financial place to do so. So I don't know if I'm really answering your question per se, but I don't know if there's like a number I can give you. But if that's my favorite artist, I'm going to that concert. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be there. I will see you front row.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I feel like it's tough. I haven't been to many concerts.
You should. I ain't gonna lie, you should.
It's tough. Everybody I've met, they were like, man, you should have gone. It was so dope. I don't know, man. I'm a band kid. All my family, all my other siblings, you know, they all played band in bands. So it's like I've been to like those kind of concerts. So when I hear people say like, oh, go see this artist, I'd be thinking like it's band concert. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for me to explain. I'm so drained going to concerts because of all the different recitals. Is that what they're called? I had to go to as a kid, but I don't know. Like, what's an experience you had when you had your concert that you're like, I want to improve on that next time I go on stage?
Definitely breath work. Breath work is something that I think I'm working on because it's you just get so hyped and you're so excited to like be on the stage. You're seeing people in the audience, they're vibing with the song. And I'm also a dancer, so like I get to dance in a bunch and it's like, girl, I can't breathe. We need to give me a moment. Like, can we pause the show so I can breathe real quick? But no, yeah, breathwork's definitely something that I'm working on. And yeah, because I think I'm good on like stage presence. I'm good on trying to like relate with my audience. But if I can't breathe, y'all not hearing the songs. Yeah.
What's something you really loved about that experience that you would also want to continue to happen?
Vibing with the audience. I love interacting with my audience. And I think I sort of have that experience from poetry and like trying to sort of make sure I'm speaking directly to the audience. And so I think that like being able to see people's faces, see them smiling, loving the song, recording, things like that. And really just like, because at one point I was like talking directly to the audience when we had a couple technical difficulties. But it was nice to like hear them. Like I'll say something to them and they'll like say something back, and kind of feel like you have like a relationship that you're building with the crowd, and potentially, you know, building your fan base even more. So yeah, I want to definitely keep that up.
What's something that happened or that you weren't expecting when you had your concert?
Something I wasn't expecting. I think everything was like very straightforward. So there wasn't really much that I wasn't expecting. I mean, technical difficulties, but that's also to be expected sometimes at shows. So yeah, all good.
Okay. Do you think, you know, I feel like, okay, I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. Mm-hmm. In time, right, as you grow more in the industry, mm-hmm. and you find more of like your presence and where you want to be, mm-hmm. whether that be in a box or just like, no, I just make music for the soul, mm-hmm. you know? Do you think there will ever be a time where you're going to be like, you know what, I want to hone in on something in particular? Like, would you ever produce an album that's just like this and then your next album's like that?
Yeah, I'm actually working on an album right now. And when I say that, I mean more of the writing of it. Trying to sort of tell a full story with songs. So yes, I guess the answer to that. But at the same time, because I'm still like, I don't know, I can't really give you a full answer. But yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I was always curious, you know, who would you want to be on a track with?
Ira and Thames, holla at me. Like yesterday. They're literally my inspiration. And I think when I see women like that, like them too, like out there, they're doing their thing and they're really creating these wonderful tracks. It sort of gives me that inspiration to say like, you got it. Like it's coming soon. And it's so funny. I feel it, but that's a whole nother topic. It's just because I really truly believe in myself and I really believe in the work, but then I also recognize that I have the favor of God. So like, that's also what keeps me going and motivated. So when I see inspiration, I don't shy away from it. I run towards it because I'm like, I'm going to meet you someday. So
that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for you? What's coming up?
Yeah, so you know how we were just talking about breath work? Yeah, so I actually got a show in July. It's July 18th at Poorhouse, Minneapolis. Y'all should pull up. The link is in my bio. But yeah, that's next. And also working with my engineer, different producers. I don't know if you're familiar with Graffiti. He's who I work with. So sort of working on that to try to come up with some sort of story to tell. with this album. I don't know when that's gonna drop, but we shall see.
Yeah. How can people reach out to you? Or how can they find you?
Yeah. They can find me at GG, so that's GIGI_joy. That's GOII on both TikTok and Instagram. And if you wanted to hit me up via email, that's no label by joy, GOI @gmail.com. All
right, listen, you guys, you know what time it is. It's that like, share, and subscribe time, right? I think it is. It's about that time.
I think it is.
I mean, man, I was thinking about a vacation, and I was like, let's just throw a bunch of places into a hat. Let's see what we get. You know what I'm saying? I could throw it into a hat, and I'm thinking of like 20 different places, right? So I threw in Bora Bora, which I've never heard of the place, but like twice in my life apparently. Mexico, which is everybody goes to, so I chucked that out the hat. Canada, chucked that out the hat. Japan, I almost chucked it out the hat, but I was like, I'm gonna keep it. But then again, I was like, hey, you know what? I only speak the one language. I'm an American. I only speak the English. I need another language. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do Bora Bora. And here's the thing: I don't know anything about Bora Bora other than it's an island, right? So I don't know if they speak English or not. I'm gonna just use that Google Translate. And then what I thought was, do I even have cell phone signal out there? You know what? This is one of those situations where you go to the airport, you pay for a ticket, and you worry about it when you get there. Terrible plan, by the way. I don't recommend it. But then I was like on the plane praying. I was like, Jesus, listen. I'm supposed to close my eyes when I do this. I was like, Jesus, listen. I hope Bora Bora is an island. And if it's an island, I hope it's a beach, because I want to be on the beach. And when I'm on the beach, you won't believe this. I want to walk through the sand. And when I'm walking through the sand, with the little teepees and the what do you call it, the umbrellas and the thing that you lay down on because you want to get a tan. I don't need a tan. I'm black enough as it is. But I put my feet in the sand, and when I open my eyes, I want to see like, share, and subscribe right there in the sand. And I want the water to hit my toes. I want that salt water, which, by the way, is good for your hair, good for your skin. I want that. I want to get there. I want to make enough money, right, to share with everybody that comes into the studio, and we all can go to Bora Bora together and draw like, share, and subscribe in the sand. All right, that's our goal. All right, I want to be able to play this at some point in the future and say, listen, y'all, we made this a reality. God is good. You know what I'm saying? I want that. You want that?
Yeah, we want that.
You can't see the hater in the studio, but he wants that too.
Yeah, no, he definitely he probably wants that more than we do, actually.
I'm telling you, we gotta make it happen. All right, we gonna make that happen. All right, listen, like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. I ain't gonna bore y'all with that. I ain't gonna hit y'all with all the like, share, and subscribes that everybody else does. Because every time you say like, share, and subscribe, I feel like I just bore you. Don't you hate when you watch a video and everybody keeps saying like, share, and subscribe?
I mean, look, they gotta do what they gotta do.
Man,
I just gotta like, share, and subscribe.
I just want to click off the video when people keep saying like, share, and subscribe, because you gotta like, share, and subscribe. You don't like, share, and subscribe, how we gonna promote this video, man? You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Man, I mean,
that's all facts.
How many times did I say like, share, and subscribe? I feel like I said like, share, and subscribe like a couple of times, right? At least like twice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like,
it's definitely more than two, but
I mean, it feels like once. I mean, maybe I'll say one more: like, share, and subscribe.
I think they get it for real.
You think they got it?
I think they got it.
I mean, I feel like I got to wear a shirt into the studio that says like, share, and subscribe.
Nah, you good. I promise.
Is that too much?
That might be a little too much.
I mean, it's just,
you might have to edit like a couple of them out.
It's 3 simple words.
What is it?
Like, share, subscribe.
All right.